What should companies that have lost ground during the recession do now?
Well, that's a interesting question, and actually let me start by setting up three categories of companies. Category one will be the companies that actually were beginning to lose ground before the recession, and what the recession did was to cause them to have that loss of ground become more visible because it accelerated what was an ongoing trend. For those companies, I suggest they look at an exit strategy, merging with another company, perhaps getting acquired by somebody. There's another category of companies that were the ones that went through recession, and even though they lost ground, they know why they lost ground. An example would be a company that had a product that was going to be launched, let's say 18 months ago, and that product launch got delayed by 9 months because of some technical reason. Had the product launched, they might have gained ground during the recession as opposed to lose ground. This category of company knows what they did wrong, they just need to fix it and stay on their strategy in the post-recession period. The third category is the middle-of-the-road category, and these are companies that actually lost ground during the recession, and they may not know exactly why they lost ground during the recession. For these companies, of course, try to figure out the reasons for losing ground during the recession and fix those as much as you can, but I would just say at a strategic level, be prepared to take a risk. Every company faces a certain time in its existence where it's better to take a big risk now rather than continue on a conservative pathway. So for this category of companies, I'd recommend be prepared, take a risk now, look at a major change in your corporate strategy, and see if you can do it now.
How about the fortunate companies that have gained ground?
For the companies that have been fortunate enough to gain ground during a recession, my first bit of caution is don't be complacent about your success. You need to make sure it's due to long-term trends and not just some short-term windfall. For example, it could be during a recession, customers flock toward low-cost products and they don't care that much about brands. But then after a recession, the consumer behavior changes back where they care about higher-priced products and brands. So the caution here is make sure that as you go through the recession, if you've been fortunate and had gains, that they really are part of long-term fundamentals. To this group of companies also, I would say that you need to be concerned about a new breed of competitors. Every recession brings in new competitors, and they come from two sources. The first source are existing companies, established companies, and after recession, they decide to broaden their markets, and they decide to come into your market. And when they enter your market, they enter it with a new business model, a new way of doing things, and they come in and compete with you. The other source of competitors are startup companies. After every recession, there is a slew of startup companies that enter markets and they go after the most attractive markets. And these two types of competitors, the established companies that are entering a new market, which is your market, and startup companies coming into your market are dangerous. And I use the word dangerous because these competitors view your market differently than the way you view it. And the problem is your customers may prefer the way they view it better than the way you view it. The second reason they're dangerous is that they come into a new market and their behavior is unpredictable. You don't know what they're going to do. So just remember, it's always as equally dangerous not to understand your competition as it is to not understand your customers.
What is the most important thing for a company to change now?
Well, change, that's a broad question, and at a high level, I separate change into two things. I look at it like a vector. It's got speed and it's got a direction to it. Changes in speed are things like doing what a company is already doing better. For example, product development. If it takes this long to develop a product and you can reduce it to this long, that's getting more efficient. If the sales cycle is this long, you can make it that long, that's more efficient as well. So speed changes are basically doing what a company does faster, better, cheaper. Directional changes are fundamental changes in a company's strategy, and that means perhaps adopting a brand new business model that's disruptive for your market. It could be entering a brand new market. It could be entering a new geographical market. These are the changes in direction that change your fundamental strategy. During a recession, everything changes. Your customers change, your competition changes, your business models change, everything changes, technology changes, vendors change. And what I believe you should do coming out of a recession is focus first on the directional changes. not on speed, and get the direction right, then come back and focus on speed.